Start streaming. Are we on? Are we on? Are we on? I believe we are on the air here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to my studio. Tonight I am going to put some new colors in a palette, much like this one. I've got it somewhere. Oh, I've got it right behind me somewhere. But first I've got to decide between all of these colors. If you're like me and you've enjoyed playing with colors as you're painting watercolors, you have somewhere along the line gotten quite a collection of different colors. I've got several bins full of colors here that I really need to organize in some better fashion. I've got in here, just found one. Whoa, look at that. These are my M. Graham paints. Here they are. I've got a whole bunch of them here, and I've got more of them on my palette that would normally fill this bowl heaping up. I've got these. I've got, well, what do I have? Let's start with these. These are, Winsor and Newton Academy or Grumbacher Academy paints that I have bought or were given to me over the years. Some, oh wow, some are probably a little dried out. This one doesn't even have a cap on it. That's going to be fun to get back. I'll just have to use some honey maybe on top of that, or some, I don't know, xanthan gum, some kind of guar gum, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I'll figure that out. I've got a bunch of paints in these two that I've bought at a number of garage sales that I've gone to. Most of these are professional paints. Some, like this one, that I've used most, if not all of. Some that I haven't used much of any at all. This is alizarin crimson. I don't know. I seem to have a lot of alizarin crimson in here. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. I wouldn't use this one anymore because new techniques, we have permanent alizarin crimson, which is a different pigment number. This one is PR83, which is not the best number. We'll get into that a little bit more. But I've gone through all of these colors. Let me get these out of here. I've gone through all of these colors and found some that I really like that I want to put in a new palette. And these are the basic colors that I've come up with. And what I've done is I've tried to go with a warm to cold. Let's see, warm. Well, that's colder, but warmer, colder colors. Warmer, colder colors for each of these. I've got some neutrals that I'm going to use. Hello, Sandy. How are you tonight? I've got a bunch of colors I'm going to use. Now, you might be asking, why would I want to do that? If you've been watching my channel lately, you know I've been using this limited palette of colors. And here they are. I've got 2 blues, 2 greens, 2 yellows, 2 reds, and some more neutrals. These ones are really neutral. These are kind of a little bit different. And I like this palette. I set this palette up myself. I like it, but I have found there are a few times when I wish that I could make some brighter colors. I can mix just about any color I want with these, but the more I mix these two together and I put a little blue in it, and instead of getting a nice bright color on the outside, all of a sudden I've got 2-3 colors mixed. It starts to gray down and dull down a little bit, and I don't want that. I'm getting to the new palette. I do have this. I saw these on eBay, oh God, 2 years ago or so now, and I bought these. These are my Holbein paints, and I was just thinking about this afternoon. This is a pack of 24, and there are some great colors in here. A cold and a warm yellow, some warm and cold reds, warm and cold greens, warm and cold blues. Actually, this mineral violet in here is fantastic. And I got to thinking, why do I want to set up my own palette? And the answer I came up with was because I like to do things on my own. Yes, I can have these. These are what Holbein says is a good set of paints. But for me, around where I live, seeing a lot of colors, I knew I wanted some slightly different colors. And so I set about all of the paints I had. I do have all M. Graham paints here. So I should say I went through all the paints I had, and then I went to see if from all the colors that I really liked, if I can make one set from just one manufacturer of colors. And I think there may have been one or two colors that I wanted to change in or out, but this was the palette that I came up with. I've got turquoise, phthalo blue, ultramarine, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, cobalt green, phthalo green, olive green, azo green, sepia neutral, and Payne's gray. I've got cobalt violet, then my reds, maroon, perylene, permanent alizarin crimson. I said the other one was PR83. This is PR264. Pyrrole red, quinacridone red, burnt umber, azo orange, gamboge, Hansa yellow, and yellow ochre. Wow, that's a lot. I don't know how many colors I have here. 20. I think I have 26 spaces. I've made a card for it with all of my colors, and I guess I left out 3. So, oh, I'm sorry, I left out 4. So 26 minus 4, I have 22 colors with a little math. And what I want to do tonight is let everybody see the colors I have come up with. I'm going to put a few dabs of those colors into my tin here, and we're going to go on with that. I think what I need to do, first of all, is grab a little bit of white kitchen towel here, because I'm going to be brushing off my brush, or damping off my brush. To do this tonight, if anybody is interested, I'm using a number 8 silver black velvet brush. I've just got some water right up here. And I don't know, I thought I would just dive in with it. I'm going to try to leave everything in the camera here. Let's see if I can get it. Well, you know what? Let's do it like this. This might be just a little bit easier to do. And I've cut my card out. I should say I've cut my card out just so that it should fit right in there if I do. Okay, so the first color I'm going to put in here is turquoise. And I have to tell you, of all of the colors that I have, turquoise might be my favorite. This is such a fantastic color. I'm just going to put a little dab in here, something just about like that. There's turquoise. And let me grab a bit of that and just put it over here. You can see right away, or I hope you can see right away, it's just such a fantastic blue color. It is transparent. Let's see if I can tell you a little bit about turquoise. I don't know. Got a little bit more water than I wanted to. I got a little overzealous on this. Turquoise, it is transparent color. And it's this nice, well, it's a turquoise color. It's a fantastic color. It mixes okay with yellows. It mixes nice with a couple of the reds. But it's just such a nice, beautiful color that I wanted to use it. Okay, the next color I'm putting in is phthalo blue, and this is red shade phthalo blue. I'm just going to put a little bit in there, and I considered just going on and buying a regular standard phthalo blue. But when I looked through the paints that I had over here, I wanted something that was just a little bit warmer. And so I'd already had this phthalo blue red shade. And it's a nice bright blue. Also very transparent. There, you can see it right there. The color that's going to go next to it, ultramarine, also kind of a warm blue, but I don't know. When I mix ultramarine, I don't have a problem with ultramarine by itself, but when I mix ultramarine, especially with yellows, I think I just come out with such a kind of a blah, dirty. It's not a dirty color, but it's not a vibrant color. And so that phthalo blue is one that I'm really would consider replacing when I'm mixing my yellows, especially with, instead of ultramarine, in order to get some greens. And I am saying now, I'm throwing out a couple of things about what I would mix this with and what I mix that with. I'm hoping that in the future, I'm going to be able to get it together enough that I'm going to be able to pick a color out of here. Let's just say ultramarine. And then I'm going to do a video about what colors are good to mix with that, what colors are bad to mix with that, and how it looks on maybe even different types of paper, because ultramarine is very granulating. So if you get that on a hot press paper, it's going to look completely different than it will on a rough paper, because it's going to put down little pockets of color, and it'll leave on the rough paper, it'll put down little pockets full of color, and then the high points on the paper just aren't going to have anything in it. You can see a little bit of that happening here. Maybe I can pull that up. I think you can see a little bit of that happening here, where it's starting to separate and you're getting just it falling inside the paper there a little bit. Okay, anyways, those are basically the warm blues that I have. I know turquoise may not necessarily be the warmest blue, but like I said, turquoise blue is one of my favorite colors. Okay, so this is cobalt blue, and here it is, and I have substituted when I paint my skies, ultramarine for cobalt blue, because I don't know, cobalt's a bit more of a neutral or natural blue. The ultramarine is a little in your face sometimes, but the cobalt blue really is a nice kind of a natural blue. And then I'm going to move into this one, which is, well, this one is cerulean blue deep. And this one I thought a while about. Do I want cerulean blue or do I want cerulean blue deep? And I came to the determination that I want cerulean blue deep in my palette. Here we go. We can look at this. And this is, there it is. It's a little bit opaque. But you can see it is itself a very nice color. Let's kind of bring that up so you can see it. So cobalt, if cobalt looks like the sky above us, I don't know what cerulean looks like. You could use cerulean for a nice summer sky. Also a nice warm sky there. It would be just as well. Interestingly, if we take a look at the ultramarine and the cobalt, the colors, ultramarine is PB29. This is in the M Graham set of paints. The pigment number is PB29 and the cobalt is PB28. So I don't know if there's a correlation between where you're at with the pigment numbers and how close you are together. But you can see that they're close together, and as they're drying out, the colors are not that far apart. So those are my blues that I've decided on. I can use these I can do a lot with these blues. And so then when I'm setting up my palette, what I thought I wanted to do was blues, greens, and wrap around and come over here into my yellows. And then yellows to oranges, oranges into reds. Yeah, I kind of got mixed in here. We'll touch on that in a second. But as I'm coming over from my blues, the next ones, of course, are my greens. And my first green that I'm going to use here is cobalt green. And cobalt green is probably one that not everybody has, but I have found that if you paint any desert life, if you paint succulents, if you paint anything that's out in the heat for a long, long time, that cobalt green is a great color to do that with. And again, you can see right in here, it's a granulating color. So you can see it kind of starting to separate in there. If I had rough paper, it would even be more you'd be able to see in there. Let's see if you can actually see that. How it's starting to separate and you get a little flecks of color in there. So that's my first one. Then I wanted to go with phthalo green. And whoops. Oh, I got it all over my thumb. Okay, so phthalo green. I had previously purchased phthalo green yellow shade, which is what this is, which is fine. It's just a slight bit off of the regular phthalo color. It's a little cooler, and that's fine. And you look at that and you are going to immediately say to yourself, holy cow, if that is a desert-ish, a hot weather green, what is that? That is just so bright, kind of iridescent. Why do you want that in your palette? Well, the reason I want that phthalo green in my palette is because phthalo green mixes very well, really well with lots of kinds of things. And like I said, when I get into making some videos about mixing different colors, phthalo green will be in there because it mixes so well. All right, my next one, ooh, this top is on tight, is olive green. And I'm not really going through the pigment not pigment colors, pigment numbers. This is phthalo green, yellow shade for who are we using? M-gram is PG36. I believe that all of the phthalo greens are PG36. I'm not really getting into those. If you have a specific question about that, please throw it in the chat and I will answer that for you. But I'll try to get into that in later videos. I want to get my colors in here. I want you to be able to see what I've got going on here. All right, my next color is this olive green, and it's a very dark green with a little bit of a yellow undertone to it. There it is. And olive green is probably my first green. Just as soon as I say, I'm not really going to talk about all of these pigment numbers. Olive green is my first green that I don't want to mix a whole lot with a lot of other pigments because it's made up of 1, 2, 3 different pigments already. And if I mix it with more, that's just going to muddy it and bring the value down. Already you can see it's not nearly as bright as some of these other ones that have just one pigment color in them, pigment number in them. So it's a little bit more muted green, and that's kind of why I like it, because it is a muted green. All right, my next one is azo green. If you use Daniel Smith colors, this one is called green gold. M. Graham happens to call it azo green. I believe it's the same pigment number. I will have to double check that, but look at this color. It's a very yellow, very nice yellowish, warm, friendly, happy green. I don't know what to say about this color. This is a fantastic color. If I were walking in hills in the springtime and there were a lot of things that were this azo green color outside, I think I'd be very happy. You can use this as a first layer on a lot of things and then darken around it, and it really pops off the page when you use it. Then I've got over in my corner, I've got one space extra in here. Over in my corner, I want to put my neutrals. The first one I want to put down is sepia, and everybody knows what sepia is. Sepia is just, it's a brown color. It's a brown. Here it is, kind of an old gray. Like if you were to look at an old photograph or something, that's what you would see. Now, I've used sepia several times. If I just need to bring the value of something down a little bit and I don't want to give it either a bluish look from the Payne's Gray or a purplish look from the neutral tint, your choice is kind of a brownish tint from the sepia. So that's why I've got it in here with my neutrals. Having said that, my next neutral is, let's see, Donna says, love Amgram paints. This looks to be a really cool palette. Well, I really hope it turns out to be a good palette. I actually spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours doing some research on what colors I wanted to put on my palette. And I made, I don't know how many cards like this where I would just do a little splotch of color. Is that warm enough? Is it cold enough? Do I like the color? Not necessarily is it cold or warm enough. Do I like that color? Can I see that color in anything that I might want to paint? If you haven't gone to, what's the site? Handprint. I believe it's handprint.com. Whoever runs that, I don't know the person's name, but he has so much information on different colors. It's unbelievable. He's got more information about colors there than you could ever want to know about them. And I spent hours reading on that site. Would this color be good? Would that color be good? What about this? What about this pigment? Is this fugitive? Is this transparent? Is this opaque? Do I care if this is transparent or opaque? Is this... Oh, yeah. And then a number of different artists, I went on to see what palettes they use. And so I'm hoping through all of that, that when I set this up, I've got every color I want to use for the foreseeable future, and that this is good for me to do a wide range of things. Not that I want to go back a little bit, but I'm going to go back a little bit. This palette, my limited color palette, I set up because I wanted to figure out how to mix my own colors. And I knew if I wanted to mix a cold red with a cold blue, that it would make a cold purple. But what if I mix a cold red with a warm blue? What does that make? And so this was kind of an experiment for me. And I think I learned a lot about mixing paint in that one. And I'm hoping I can take that and use that knowledge in this palette, but have colors that are just a bit more vibrant. Christina says that would be Rich Green Good in Daniel Smith, I think. Christina, I think you're talking about the Azo Green being a rich green gold. I believe that Azo Green in Mgram is green gold in Daniel Smith. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure, but I think it is. Okay, and then the last of my neutrals here, if I can twist the top off. Yes, it is. Yes, okay, good. Good, I have confirmation of that azo green is green gold. If it's not exactly, they're very similar. Okay, and if you've never really looked at Payne's Gray before, Payne's Gray is one that we all get as a starter color. You can mix it with anything. Payne's Gray goes with anything, and you can use it here, and you can use it there, and you can use it anywhere. And I put it on my palette for my first one I made, and I used it, and I went, I'm not wild about it. I think I've learned to mix it in, but I hope you can see, if I hold this up, that the Payne's Gray, it's a blue color. I mean, you don't notice it, but you can see it's much bluer than the neutral tint. Of course, it's got PB29. It's got ultramarine in there, which would make sense that it's got a blue tint to it. And the neutral is much purpler, and the sepia is much warmer than both of them, but they're all neutrals. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so I said I want to swing around and get some yellows down here. So azo would be my last green, but it's really yellowy. And then I would swing around, and my next yellow normally would be Hansa yellow over here, which is kind of like a lemon yellow. You'll see it in just a second. But I'm going to go back that way. But I wanted to put on yellow ochre as a color. And yellow ochre, I don't think has, I shouldn't say it doesn't have a real place in with the rest of the colors, because obviously it does. It's a color. It's got some place here, but the way we use yellow ochre is we use yellow ochre for all kinds of things. We use yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is such a common color for everybody to use all the time that I don't really, I kind of take it away from the yellows and put it in kind of its own category. It's hard to describe. But the Winsor Newton yellow ochre, here it is. It is slightly opaque like most of the yellow ochres. It's a very bright, very nice, lovely color, but it's just a little different than everything else because it's so common, because we see it in everything. Okay, I'm going to move on to Hansa Yellow. This is Hansa Yellow Deep, and I should say I had already had this color. I don't know if I would have bought Hansa Yellow if I hadn't previously bought it, but if you look at it, it looks very much like a lemon yellow. It's a cold yellow. There it is. In fact, we can look here. I believe, if we look at this is Holbein, is very much like the Holbein permanent lemon yellow. It's got just a little bit more body to it. So it's a cold yellow. It is just ever so slightly opaque. I'm going to look over that and not worry too much about it, and just use it how I normally would. Another one of my favorite colors here, which is Gamboge. It is just a nice, warm, orangey yellow color. Here it is. Oh, look at that. And not so much in this previous palette, but the one I started with, I had Gamboge in it, and I used it to mix with everything that I wanted warm. It's just a warm, lovely color. Again, like I said, like the turquoise, one of my favorites. I see we've got a few other people here. Hello, Gail. Let's see, what brushes are those? I see lots of YouTube watercolor artists using them. Morelli, this again is the silver black velvet round brush. This has squirrel and synthetic hair mix in it. I bought these, like you, I saw lots of people on YouTube using these, and I bought a set of them. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Here they are. This is the set I bought. It's probably a 2, 4, 6, and 8. I'm using the 8 now. And because I saw so many people using these, I totally expected to fall in love with them and would be using them all the time. And I got them and used them, and I went, that's okay, but I don't think it's anything special. And I kind of put them away in my brush carriage over here. And I just recently got them out. I said, I need to give them a second chance. I need to see how they are really. And since I've gotten them out on the second time, I think they've done better than I gave them credit for the first time. So I'm slowly working these back into my rotation to use a little bit more. Let's see. Deborah needs a good floral palette. If anybody wants to suggest some for her, I'm going to keep working on my palette. And Deborah, maybe I can help you out with that at some later time. But I'm going to put this in right now. This color is Azo Orange, and this is going to bridge the gap for me between my nice warm gamboge and the rest of my reds. And this should be a nice, really orangey orange, if I picked it right. I hope I have. There we go. It looks very nice. Nice Azo Orange, single pigment color. There we go. That's nice. A very nice, beautiful orangey color. Let's see. Lori, you love the silver black velvet brushes. Like I said, I wasn't blown away to begin with, but they're winning me over. The more I use them, the more they are winning me over. So I'm gonna keep going. I love these, my squirrel brushes. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody else knows. I don't know what it is. When I grab one of these brushes, I want to hold it back here. I just when I grab it, it comes back here. And I feel like I could be looser with this and paint in a little more loose style. Oh, I touched my paints. And when I grab this brush, I immediately grab down here and I use it more like a pencil. And I haven't been able to figure out why that is, why this brush feels better in my hand here and this one feels better in my hand up here. I don't know. But the silver black velvet brushes, they're winning me over. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm much more on their side than I was before. Let's see. The next color I'm going to use is, burnt umber. Nice, delicious orangey brown color here. Let's see. There we go. A little more brown than orange, but you can see, there it is. The M gram version of this color is really nice. The Winsor Newton one is a bit pop in your face. I don't know what is different about it. But this one is a nice rounded color. It's nice for things in the shadow a little bit. It's nice for wood if you've got that. What brand of palette am I using? That is a great question. Oh, I just looked in my drawer where I had it kept. I don't know what brand of palette this is. I will tell you, I bought this on Amazon. It was only about 15 bucks. The same place, same manufacturer that I got this one from. Does it have slanted wells? Yes. Let's see, maybe you can look at this one because the paint won't run at all on this one. If you can see in the side here, I don't know if you be able to. It does slant from up top here back just a little bit, so that when you put water in it, the water runs down to the low side down there. Holbein makes these, and these are knockoffs of the Holbein palette. That's why they have the H here. But the Holbein palette, if you buy it, is probably $60, $70 or so. They're a bit pricey. This one, like I said, was about 16 bucks off of Amazon with free shipping. And it's almost identical. It is enameled aluminum. So it's not real heavy. It's very light. And they're both exactly the same size. So this one that has 12 wells or 13 wells, you have a lot of mixing space. If you buy this one that has 26 wells in it, it's a little less mixing space, but you have a lot more colors. And they make these in lots of different configurations where they have wells that go up the sides on both of these. They have it where it's 2 rows. So you've got, let's see, this was, what did I say, 26. So you have 52 different colors you could put in here possibly. So I don't know, but this is the one I bought. Yeah, and yes, it's a knockoff of the Holbein palette, much cheaper. It's made out of aluminum. I believe the Holbein ones are steel. But that's it. And I had been using I don't know if I could reach over and grab it real quickly. One that's similar to this, but plastic. Let's see if I can find it. If I can look and find it. Oh, well, here. Let's do this too. Here's one that is, I didn't plan on doing this, but I'm happy to do it. This is Low Cornell. They make a lot of school supplies. And how do we get this one open? This one is a similar design. I happened to be walking through Walmart one day. I don't often go to Walmart. There's not one for about 40 miles from my house. But I happened to be going through there and saw this one. It's all plastic, but it's the similar design. It has some little places for your brush to go in there. And this was $4, right? Obviously, I haven't used this one yet. And if you give me 1 second, here it is. If you give me 1 second, I've got it. That was $4. This one's $15. And this one, which I used to use and which I'm storing some pan paints in, is the other one that I've used for a long time of similar design. And it's a little bit bigger, also plastic. The trays come out, as you can see here. This one seems to be stuck. It must have a little paint under there or something. And this one was, I think I got this for about $30. But I've had this for 7 or 8 or 9 years, and it's starting to show the wear. I stopped using that one because I liked the way I've basically moved all of my plastic out. I like the way that the water sits on these metal palettes just a little bit better. Okay, where was I at? Oh, here I am. Okay, before I got off on a tangent on palettes, I'm happy to talk about palettes. I love all the different palettes, but here we go. I have quinacridone rose as a color. Here it is, a nice pink color, not too light, but not too dark. It doesn't overtake, and you can mix this with a number of different colors. You can mix it with your oranges. I'm sorry, with your yellows. You can mix it with your blues, make a nice purple. Lots of stuff you can do with that. Okay, so there's my nice cold red there. This is Pyrrole red. This is the most neutral red that I think I have. And this is, if you could name this something else, you would probably name this Fire Engine red. And there it is. It's a very red. There we go, Pyrrole red. It's a very strong red, semi-opaque, but just a brilliant color. And it is like permanent alizarin crimson. A little bit of that color goes a long way. That brings me to my next color, which is permanent alizarin crimson. I don't think you could set up a palette without using it. Well, you could. Of course you could. Let's see. This is another one of those colors, along with ultramarine and Payne's gray, that come in every starter kit. But look, it's a beautiful color. There it is. You can mix this with a number of different blues to make a beautiful purple. The only thing you can't do is use a lot of it because it's such a strong color. And this one is PR264, which is different than the PR85. Is that what it is? I don't have it written down right here, which is the just regular alizarin crimson, which fades quite badly. It's not very good. This permanent alizarin crimson will stay there. It's color fast. Okay, this is maroon perylene, and let's see what we got here. It's a nice deep red. If you've got some fall colors you need to paint, this is the color for you. Look at that. It's, again, like the other reds, like the alizarin crimson and like the Pyrrole red. A little bit of this color goes a long way, but you can mix this with a cold yellow, make a nice nice orange, or you can mix it with a blue and get a nice deep purple. Permanent alizarin crimson and phthalo green make the best black. Ooh, I might have to try that. Let's give that a try real quick. Permanent alizarin crimson. I'm going to mix it right onto here. And phthalo green. Now my phthalo green, as I said, is a little different. It's got a little bit of yellow in it, but ooh, look at that. Of course, red and green are on the opposite side of the color wheel, so you will have to be careful when you're mixing this. If your balance is off, you'll get a black or a dark gray that has just a green tint, or you could get it that has just a bit of a red tint. But yeah, you're right. Look at that. It makes a very nice dark gray, almost a black color. That's fantastic. And let's see, my last one. Oh, I had to put this one in because I like this color too. Cobalt violet. I started painting a few more flowers, and my daughter likes when I paint some more things that aren't manly. And so I'm putting in this cobalt violet, which is a nice, beautiful, look at that violet color. It is, I believe this one to be semi-opaque also. but it's strong enough of the violets. It's strong enough that it can stay on its own if you just put a purple down or this, this nice violet color, or you can mix it with a couple of other colors that make strengthen it up with a little blue or a little red if you wanted to do that. It's a fantastic color on its own. So there we go. That is my new palette that I'm going to use. With any luck, I cut this properly and it'll fit right in there. I'm not going to close this up. I've done this before. I've got colors on both sides. You close it up and immediately, especially with the M-gram paints, they tend to stay very moist, and if I close it, it's going to run. I need to leave it sit out for a day or two to harden up. Let's see. Christina says this palette itself would be a great floral palette. I do have some fantastic color. Like I said, I did a lot of research on these colors. I don't want to have to put in. I don't want to have one of these that's got 80 trays and buy 40,000 different colors to put in there. So I thought these would be good, and I'll give you. Throw in dioxazine violet, and you'd be said dioxazine violet. I don't even know that color. I've got a different mineral violet. I've got this cobalt violet, and I've got another violet, which is, what's this one? Oh, I've got ultramarine pink. I don't have a dioxazine. I don't even know how to say that. Dioxazine violet. I'm going to have to look to see what color that is. But that's all I've got for you tonight. Oh man, I'm putting this right on my file. That's all smeared off now. Okay, that's all I've got for you tonight. I hope that you enjoyed seeing me set this. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Before I go, one last thing. I did allow myself a little bit of an out. I made a second one of these. And I told you I was going to put in just a bit of these paints, not too many, so that if I'm using one of these and I go, ooh, that color is not quite right, I don't have a whole lot of it in here. I can use this up quickly. Then I can change this, make a new one with whatever new color I put in there. And I'm hoping that this palette will be able to hang around for quite a long time for me. Dioxazine violet, tinting transparent deep purple. Ooh, I now have something to do for the rest of the night. I'm going to go and look that color up. I don't know anything about it yet, but I'm going to head out. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me do my little palette setup. I'm going to start using this. You'll probably see videos of mine with this starting maybe. Well, I've got one already set for Wednesday coming out this week, so I'll probably start with this next weekend. Next Saturday, you'll see me back here again, and I'll be using this palette. Until then, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you stopped by. Thanks for being here. I'm glad some people asked questions. I love answering questions. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye. Get out and start friggin' babbling. Who won the basketball game? I don't even know. Come on, somebody had to have won. Well, that says Minnesota. That ain't right.